best. Everybody wants to be the best. We strive to be the worst. When a bad take is necessary, we're going to be here to share it with you. I'm your host, JB. With me is Morgan. We got a lot to talk about this week. Open Championship week, obviously. And we're kind of throwing everybody off base with the time. But that's because something's happening this afternoon we'll get into later. But wanted to kind of kick this one off right away because it is Open Championship week. And with that,
I had to yawn, so I had to wait to turn the camera on.
With that comes a lot of Rory McIlroy talk.
Yes.
And over the last, I'd say probably 2 years, he has become kind of a polarizing golf figure.
Kind of?
Well, very polarizing in the last year, but over the last 2 to 3 years, he's become kind of polarizing. And I think part of that, we are, for those following along and are not members of the THP forum, we are political free talk there.
Yeah, we try to keep politics
no
far,
politics
far away.
allowed, zero tolerance policy, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
On this one, I'm going to say the reason he's polarizing for a lot of people is political.
Yes, that is correct.
He was very much playing golf with a former president.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the media kind of gravitated negative towards that president, he kind of made some comments, shied away from it and everything else. And I think there are people, we live in that culture now that
it's one or the other.
It's one or the other. There's
you have to pick a side.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that really happens. Now, for the pure golf fan that just likes to see him play golf, they have no issue with any of the politics. They choose to be apolitical when it comes to golf, generally speaking.
They pick their player or...
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that there is something understandable to that. Mm-hmm. If that's the way if that's your line of thinking, there's something to that.
Sure.
And I think part of that started the call it bipolar disorder of Rory fans.
Okay.
It continued obviously with Live Golf.
Yeah, I feel like that's where things really took a turn.
Rory became kind of the de facto spokesperson for the PGA Tour.
How did that happen?
I generally don't think it was because Rory asked for it or the PGA Tour asked for it. I think the media wanted it.
Yeah.
And the media didn't have Tiger, so they went to the next most popular player. And I'm not even sure Rory is, but a lot of people feel that way.
Quick question. If they did have Tiger, do you think Tiger would have spoken out about it though? Me either. I don't think so either.
If he was in the heyday of Tiger, he would have gone the Michael Jordan route, which is play it down the line.
Yeah, like he doesn't
just done his thing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
But many people think that Rory is the most popular. I don't. I'm not in that camp. I think he's very much at the top or near the top, but it's not an absolute like it used to be.
Sure.
I think we saw that last week with Ricky Fowler, who is not even on the same level performance-wise, but the sports world celebrated it, not just the golf world.
I would agree.
But so when he became the de facto leader of the PGA Tour spokesmodel against Live Golf, that also polarized it.
Very much so.
In a big way.
Oh, again, huge way.
Understandable.
Yeah, there's a little pun in there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Then he, like all the others, had the rug pulled out from under them.
Yeah.
Jay Monahan did the unthinkable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And cut a deal with the Saudi PIF fund. I don't have as much of it. I have a lot of issues with cutting a deal with them. I have an issue with no communication to the tour players, the people who make the tour, getting the deal done.
Right.
And sadly, that's the only questions he's going to be answering.
I know.
But I will say the media definitely still wants him to be the face and wants him to win. They're at this point, they're almost openly rooting for him.
Yeah. But in some ways, if you think about it, like even when he first came on the scene, like he's always kind of been the media darling.
Yeah, he has. He's the heir apparent. And one of the reasons for that is he's a great interview. I know people like to talk about talking out of both sides of his mouth. I'm not one of those people. I don't necessarily think he does that. I think he changes his mind a little bit. But he gives honest answers.
Yeah.
At least in his mind, they're honest.
I was going to say, yeah, at least for what he's thinking.
And I appreciate that rather than the down the line Michael Jordan philosophy of never give something that's going to polarize. It's the old adage that salespeople should never have bumper stickers because you might offend one person that's interested in buying your stuff.
True.
So Rory gives the honest answers, or at least what he believes are the honest answers at the time. Now he does change his mind a lot. That's okay.
I mean, everybody does.
Right.
But we don't do it
when you're talking about potentially billions of dollars.
Yes.
On the line and things like that. But so in my mind, that's what makes the whole thing polarizing is in a lot of ways, he became the PGA Tour versus the evil Greg Norman led
Yes.
Live Golf, because he was the best player, and he actually wasn't. I mean, Scotty Scheffler was clearly the best player
He
during that
certainly
stretch.
wasn't going to be talking about that.
No. So, that's kind of where I think it comes from. It's a real shame that it's
Mhm.
come to this, but at the same time, drama brings ratings.
Well, I
and
was going to say, but it gets people talking about golf,
Yeah.
and that can be a good thing.
It's like Vince McMahon said, nothing brings dollars like a personal thing.
Mhm.
So, to Rory, Live Golf is personal.
Yeah.
And I understand that to an extent. Obviously, he probably should have cashed in looking back.
Probably. I think
I
he's done okay for himself, though.
Yeah. And to be fair, and Rory was honest, at least when Live first formed. He did cash in early on. He went and played for appearance dollars in many countries and took the money. He cashed out on the Euro Tour and went to the PGA Tour chasing the money, because that's what the FedEx Cup is. It sets you up generationally.
Yeah.
So, I think he's got a really good shot this week, and we'll get into some preview now, switching from the Rory polarizing thing to what is really happening this week, which is the Open Championship.
Which someone said that your shirt is perfect for the Open Championship.
It is.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't
No, but they're right. You're
Hot
absolutely
brown
right.
water, right?
Yeah. No, I like tea.
Yeah, tea's disgusting.
Yeah,
I agree with Ted Lasso. If you didn't watch the show, it starts out very good, very quickly about hot tea.
Yeah.
And he kind of sums it up. So T-shirt week continues.
Yes.
And next week we have another good one. I've already picked it out.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm planning this out. It's important stuff.
Sure, absolutely.
Switching gears to the Open Championship. Yes. Royal Liverpool is a unique course. We'll get into kind of the nuts and bolts. I'm 99% sure last time it was there, Rory won it.
I don't remember.
9 years ago.
I think you might be right. Correct us if we're wrong. I can't remember.
So when Rory won that, he has not had a lot since then.
No,
he's
it's
been a
rough.
bit of a drought.
Yeah.
But I do think he has to be considered the favorite, especially after winning last week.
I would think so.
I don't think it, let's put it this way. I don't think it would surprise anybody if he went out and blitzed the field.
Win.
Yeah. I don't think it would surprise anybody if he went out and blitzed the field.
I don't think so either.
To me, I did my research before the show. The favorites,
chubby Rory.
The favorites kind of come at the same thing for each one. You have Scotty Scheffler, Jon Rahm, Cam Smith, Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, and then I'm going to throw in 3 others that are playing really well right now and are always kind of there.
Sure.
Ricky Fowler.
Okay. He does do really well in majors.
Yeah. Xander Schauffele.
Okay.
As long as you don't have to work on Sunday, Xander's your guy.
Well,
could say that about Rory too. Ricky was the original Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, he was Chick-fil-A, exactly.
And then Tommy Fleetwood.
Can we call somebody else Hobby Lobby then?
And then Tommy Fleetwood.
Okay.
So looking at the list of those or anybody else off the thing, who stands out to you is going to win this thing?
So I kind of I feel like Rory's playing with a vengeance.
Yeah.
So I think that he's probably got the best shot.
And he played great last year. He just got flat out beat by Cam Smith.
Yeah. I think he's probably got the best shot, but I feel like you can't eliminate people like Brooks. He's like a, what's the word I'm looking for?
He's a machine in majors.
Well, no, but you just never know with him.
Yeah.
There was the word that I was trying to think of, but my brain doesn't work. So, you never know. So I feel like he could have a shot, and then I have to eliminate Scheffler because his putter is just.
Yeah, and it's funny too because
he's amazing, but his putter is just.
I read a stat yesterday, and I actually posted this. His last 7 starts,
loose cannon. That's what I think I was trying to say.
In Scotty Scheffler's last 7 starts, he's top 5 to all of them.
Right.
And tee to green, he's the best golfer in the world, but the putter is the problem.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like he's eliminated already. I think I'm gonna say Rory would be my number 1, and then maybe Brooks would be my number 2, but I'm going to throw in a little something here.
Okay.
Because my nephew is obsessed with Jon Rahm. I don't know why, he just always has been. I think it's because it's super easy to say. I will probably root for him just because I can root together with him.
Yeah. And Jon Rahm's got a good chance.
Oh, yeah.
He always starts off the year hot, then kind of slides back a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'll get to my pick in a second. I want to talk a little bit about the course, because the course is being heavily discussed.
Yes.
Since the change to the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
17th, for those who haven't done anything on the golf course or don't know what to expect, the 17 is a short par 3. I think it's playing anywhere from like
We
130.
should have had the picture ready to go.
130 to 140, that range. It's not an island hole with water surrounding it, but it might as well be an island.
Seems like not that bad of a hole, right?
It's got one of the worst false fronts I've ever seen in golf.
Crazy looking.
And the players aren't openly saying it, but most are mumbling about it that they hate it.
They're not happy.
I feel in a lot of ways that you have to have the short game and the wedge game. And maybe even a knockdown iron, depending on the weather, to get to win. I think Sunday we might see a guy with a 3-stroke lead come to the 17th and throw it away.
I think that's absolutely possible.
And I think that that's what they were looking for. They were looking for the armchair quarterback to create drama because of the time change and things like that. And they've accomplished it in a lot of ways.
Compared to the last major, would be a welcome change.
And the last Open Championship was amazing. Cam Smith and Rory dueling it out for 18.
Absolutely.
Rory just didn't make any putts. None.
Yeah.
So the 17th, to me, I think they wanted TPC Sawgrass.
A little bit. I mean, it's kind of comparable when you think about it.
Yeah, it is in a lot of ways where you have no idea what to do. And there's been talk of people saying they'd lay up. There was one caddy Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, someone just said that his caddy said he's predicting 6s, 7s, and 8s.
Yeah, and there's been mumblings that a few caddies have called this, quote, an effing joke. A little too tricked out. But also, when it comes to the Open Championship, there's only thing that matters: weather.
Weather, absolutely.
And if you're on the right side of the draw, you have a chance. There's 2 guys that I didn't put in our kind of thought process of favorites, and that's Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, both of which have won plenty of tournaments. Both have majors, and both are not, I would say, hitting their peak right now.
No, they're interesting.
If they are on the right side of the draw, I think both of them could scare people, but they have to be on the right side of the draw.
They have to. And Spieth, it's all about his putter.
It is.
Well, it's everybody with their putter, really.
Especially here, because, if the weather weren't in play, these guys would shred this course like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, but especially I feel like someone like Spieth, like if his putter is off, like he's done.
I'm a gambling man.
Yes, you are. You are. I am not.
I would venture to guess the tournament organizers have watched the weather, and there's certain players who they're going to predict end up at the good side of the draw.
So how they've planned out who's going out when?
Yeah, that's just.
So the fix is in, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying that.
I think you kind of are.
It's predictive,
right?
The weather changes all the time.
It does.
But I would say that there's some.
I don't know.
There's some thought process there. That's just my feeling. Okay. Most people would disagree with it.
Hashtag rigged, I think.
Yeah, it seems like a couple of players get the good side almost every single time, and that seems suspect to me. In fact, historically, that's been the case.
Are you going to say someone like Brooks is not going to get the good side?
He would not be the person that I would think would be that guy. I would say that.
I was just saying based off of his decisions.
I mean, maybe DJ doesn't get the good side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. DJ, Brooks.
Yeah,
those guys.
I'd say there's a few. Maybe Cam Smith.
Cam Smith. Exactly.
Again, when they're setting these up, though, it's a guess on the weather.
Right.
So
it is, but I'm just saying.
Jumping back to our predictions and things like that. I really struggled with this.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
I didn't think I would, but I originally said it's going to be Rory and it's a lock.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to win this thing.
Nothing's a lock.
Yeah.
Nothing is.
Winning last week, I thought he putted the ball extremely well, and his shots coming down the stretch were fantastic. He doesn't feel the pressure. He's been there before, like a lot of these guys do, which is funny based on his Sunday finishes. Although he does backdoor roars quite a bit. I feel like he liked that. He likes that quite a bit.
That just sounds like something that has nothing to do with golf.
But the 17th,
I guess if golf doesn't work out for him.
Sure. The 17th with a wedge in his hand with the whole thing on the line, I wouldn't bet on him. No. I'd bet on him with a driver in his hand. Long iron, absolutely. With a wedge in his hand, I wouldn't bet on him. I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler. I know it's kind of taking chalk.
Okay.
I think the putter turns around a little bit for him this week. It
hasn't all year.
I know. Well, I mean, it was okay early in the year, but I'm going to take Scotty Scheffler to win, and I know it's kind of a boring pick. He's kind of a vanilla guy.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he kind of.
Yeah, I think
he's shown emotion, not to cut you off, maybe, 3 times?
when he missed the 2 short putts at Augusta National, that was the emotion.
Yeah.
I do think that Rahm, if he starts out well, first 7 or 8 holes, he could run away with this thing. He's got that kind of game that when he gets going, it's like a freight train.
Yeah, I would love to see Rahm and Brooks paired together and just like the screaming and like the club throwing and
both of them move at a decent pace. So.
Yes, but just like the anger.
Yeah,
I would love to just like see the two of them.
There you go. Somebody in the comments put up the time.
Yes.
Early tee time for Rory, Rahm, and Justin Rose. If I was a betting man, that weather won't be so bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's my gut feeling there. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah.
So people have asked, like, why are we doing the show this early? And I kind of wanted to explain the reasoning. Most people here grew up playing golf with family or friends introduced them to it, and I didn't. I mean, my dad introduced me to the game, but my father grew up as a golfer and a caddy, and then quit golf the day I was born for 25 years. Didn't pick up a single club.
So not when your sister was born?
No. They were still transitioning to move to Florida at the time from Massachusetts, and he quit golf to focus on career and family. He said, Dad shouldn't be out that long, and times were different back then.
Right.
And then picked it up. And so I picked it up in high school with friends and never played with my dad till after in my 30s.
Yeah.
That's just when it happened. And he's since retired, and he's older now, and he's in his 80s, and he doesn't play anymore. But he did play every day for a long stretch and got to enjoy that.
His back started to act up.
Yeah, he's had some, I don't want to say health issues because he doesn't really have any health issues.
Physical issues.
Physical ailments that have kept him from playing. And I've talked about this before on the THP forum, but he's pretty instrumental in my life, obviously as a father, but in more than a lot of people typically go through with some stuff that happened early. And I don't have, not to get too personal here, I don't have much of a relationship with the other side of my family, my mother and my sister. There's not any ill intent or ill will involved. We just don't have any relationship. And my father remarried, and they've been married for 35 years. Yeah. That's been a big part of that. She's been a mother for a big part of my life. So my sister and her children are coming to visit my father. And people are probably like, what the fuck is he talking about? But anyway, my sister and her children and her husband are coming to visit my father. And my father is going to take his grandson and son-in-law golfing for 9 holes.
Yes.
And he had called and asked if I'd like to go, and I said no. And
you said you'll think about it.
Yeah, I had already come up with an excuse.
You started to say no, and I gave you the eyes.
Yeah. So it dawned on me that this will probably be the last time I ever get to play golf with him. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to go past this and then say, my God, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
And not for any other reason, not for my nephew or my brother-in-law. I don't really know them.
Right.
Just didn't really want to play.
Yeah.
Part of it is I didn't want to see my dad struggling around for 9 holes. Like, that's not how you want to remember somebody.
He's going to be frustrated. Yeah. He is.
But again, I shouldn't say, like, I don't want to say any of this to our audience. Think like, oh my God, my father's passing. That's not what's happening.
No. Just physically, I don't think
he doesn't play golf anymore. So that's why we're doing this early. I didn't want to spend time, but since in the last 24 hours, 48 hours since I made this decision, it dawned on me what it really was about. And I urge people, as your parents age, get out there and play. There's a picture somewhere in here of a round I got to play with 2 people from the golf industry named Mike Yagley and Jose Miraflor from Cobra Golf. We did an event at the club my parents live at in Hammock Beach. And I got to play around with the 2 of them and my father. And there's a picture of the 4 of us at the ocean with the ocean breaking in the background of the thing. And that's pretty important to me. Mm-hmm. And that's really, I think, the last time I've played with him.
I think so.
And that's probably 5 years.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So get out there and do yourself a favor and get out there. And if your father relative or anybody is aging and they don't play golf, bring them out to ride around with you. If it's your favorite thing to do, bring them out so they can see you in your element. And it's just something I'm glad I'm doing. Switching gears, we got some pretty interesting THPer questions, one of which is hysterical because it kind of feeds back on, for those that have listened or watched the last few weeks, last 10 episodes, we've had a saga of crazy emails.
Yes.
Number one shoot fighter in Ohio. Number two. Sorry. Number two.
two.
I don't want to give him more credit than he asked for.
I know. I kind of want to know who number one is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
But I was asked a question of the most awkward thing at any THP event that's ever happened. And I'm going to paint the picture that we did an event with Bridgestone Golf at Firestone. And we've had a lot of awkward moments, but nothing that's like, oh, we had a guy who was a preacher cheat on the golf course, which I thought was pretty funny in Texas. You probably remembered it because you had to go up and say something to him.
I actually don't remember that.
Yeah, we've had some weird moments.
We've had some weird moments. So I remember a couple of weird ones.
But this one it's almost like it's not awful, but it's just hysterically bad in every way whatsoever. So we did an event with Bridgestone Golf, and it was held at Firestone during the senior PGA Tour Champions event they did.
Right. Got to say it right.
So the Fred Couples was there, and we had the Bridgestone staff guys were all out there, and they got to hang out. The THPers got to hang out with those guys, do this big VIP function.
It was cool.
It was very cool. Yeah. Opening night, we bring everybody to dinner. Now, the course, Firestone doesn't really have a place to do like a private dinner for our group.
Right.
So we did it at a local restaurant, and they gave us this private room, and we had the CEO of Bridgestone Golf there, the head of marketing, and marketing coordinator and R&D all there. Mm-hmm. And Dan Murphy, who's the president of Bridgestone Golf, is giving this small speech, and I get nudged. And it was a forum member saying, like, look over there. And he's doing the head. If you're watching, you could see it. If you're listening, he's doing like the head signal to the left side of the table. And one of our guys is out cold, sleeping, head back, and doing the bob.
I remember you text me and you're like, you will not believe what's happening.
And I didn't know what to think. Like, do you wake them? Do you not wake them? So I gave him a little kick because he's across from me under the table, but I'm focused almost 50 degrees, 45 to 50 degrees to my right at Dan talking. And I don't give him the kick, and I just look, and he's continuing to bob as if he was on something, you know, because he didn't drink anything before then. And I think he had a Dr. Pepper. It was a very odd drink request, like a Dr. Pepper or a ginger ale or something when the server had come over. And he slept through the entire thing until the server tapped him on the shoulder and said, do you want to order dinner?
Oh, so weird.
It is the same person that is now sending these emails. And I always thought that was the weirdest thing, because there was a lot that was weird about that meeting. I'd never met this person before, but going in, he had sent me some messages talking about he was going to struggle because he's a long drive champion. And we play from distances that aren't conducive of that. And that, you know, his low single digit handicap would probably be closer to an 8 or a 9 or a 10. And would I make adjustments accordingly since it was a competition? And I said, I can't do that, but we'll work on the slope rating and give you whatever your handicap's supposed to be. And he sent over his rounds. We put it all in, and he had the handicap. And he proceeded to shoot very, very high numbers. Normally we don't care about that stuff. Like, it's not, that's not what it's about. But I mean, hitting the ball all over the planet. And if he was a long drive champion, and I'm just putting this out there, I need to be in that long drive because I got a chance to win, and I am not a long driver.
That's the thing that's always interesting to me, is like, it's one thing if you want to like say those things, but if you're going to actually be in person, like, you have to be able to back it up, right?
And and the thing is, nobody cares.
Nobody
Internet
cares.
Street cred is not as big a thing on our message board community because of the events. And that's why they were designed to do. And we've talked about that before. That's why we do them.
Yeah.
Keep things civil because of that.
Yeah. Like, we were in a store the other day. This is a total sidebar, but we're in a store the other day, and there was a guy, and he was acting very strange.
Oh,
do you remember?
Yes.
And the only person that was in the store was the employee, and she was an older woman. And we were talking about it, and we're like, we don't know if we want to leave the store.
Leave her alone in there.
Because we didn't want to leave her alone in there. And I turned to Josh and I said, I got this. Because, like, in my mind, I believe that I can take this person down.
Yeah.
I don't know why, But I genuinely believe that
it was very awkward though.
yes.
And that was what this was. It was awkward. And somebody wrote in the chat, I kind of feel bad for him. And in a lot of ways,
Oh,
I
no,
do too.
absolutely. Although this person needs help.
Yeah, I actually said this to her at the time. I feel bad for him. He's obviously going through some stuff.
Well, and at the time, apparently his wife.
When he went home from the event, his wife had up and left with the children. Like, there's definitely more things going on, but I think that answers the question is the most awkward.
Yeah, but the point that I was going to say was that I didn't actually like say out loud to somebody that like I could actually take this man down, because in reality probably can't. I only said to him. That's where I was going with that. But I really do believe I could take him down.
The next question was, what kind of tweaks do we have to the 2024 THP experience schedule? None that we can really share as of yet. We did announce we've announced that some are returning. We did announce that we have a new one, the Bag Boy Championship, that is splitting off from the budget championship.
Right.
There's 2 separate events now, and that we're excited about what 2024 holds. And I don't say that lightly. I feel like the last few years we've kind of hit the ground with some pretty cool stuff that's happened. We're going to continue that. And I expect that next year will top this year in terms of, I don't want to say exclusive, because they're all exclusive in a way, but they're also inclusive in terms of unique.
Right.
We're going to do some pretty cool things at this stuff, bringing in food and drink, and we have always done that, but like to a different level, bringing in experts for equipment. And you're kind of seeing that right now. Our next event we have is in a few weeks with SkyTrack, where every participant got a new SkyTrack Plus, going to Ballyhack to play with the person behind the research and development, the person behind sales and marketing, learning about that. And it's also partnered with Golf Tech, so they're going to learn to get better and have the indoor solution to continue to do that.
Yeah. And I was going to say something and I lost my train of thought.
Well, that's wonderful.
Well, it happens.
Next question is not really a question, but it was posted multiple times from people about product launches for 2024. I can't give that information up yet. I have talked to numerous companies about 2024 product, but I can tell you that August, mark your calendars. There's going to be quite a few releases in August that people are going to want to pay attention to. If you are looking at purchasing equipment, I never say wait. I'm never one of those people who says, wait, there's something around the corner, you're going to want to wait. I'm not going to say that now either, because you could say that forever and then never buy anything. But there are multiple product launches that I am super interested in that are coming in August. And I think THPers will be too. Next THPer question was adjusting to equipment for me personally. I obviously have an endless cycle of products coming in for testing, and we work with our staff writers who do a better job than I do of testing. But how do I adjust to that? And do I put it in the bag? Does it stay in the bag? That kind of thing. And honestly, after testing in the studio, if I don't feel it's better, it doesn't go in my bag for the course.
Right.
That's just the way it works. Because we have other people doing full reviews, I think that they do a better job of doing both tech testing as well as playing testing. I think they're better at it than I am. I can offer feedback. I can offer stuff on how things are built and things like that. But, the other stuff I'll leave to them. Somebody asked a really interesting question, and that is self-fitting versus, using the studio, chasing numbers, going to fitter. I still go to fitters. I've been a club champion numerous times. I did a Titleist fitting. I've done a Callaway fitting. I still go to fitters. I believe in them. I like having a second set of eyeballs. Do I chase numbers? Like, it's impossible not to.
Yeah.
I will say this.
You're a stats guy. You love stats.
Yeah. I am one of the few guys on the internet that doesn't chase numbers with shafts, though. Find a shaft I love the feel of, I stick with it, and I kind of roll with that, and then I let the head dictate it. Why? Because even shaft people tell me that's the right way to do it. The internet would tell me I'm wrong, that I'm going to see 1,000 RPMs of spin and 10 degrees of launch angle and everything else by going with the shaft change. That's not the case for me, and we have countless data points to prove it.
Data points are stupid. Who needs data points?
With that said, I am definitely not saying the shaft is not important. It is super important.
Obviously.
But yes, I do enough self-fitting to be dangerous, but I still go to fitters. And, some of the companies won't even send me equipment if I don't go to a fitter.
That's true. Actually, I've heard that happen to you a bunch of times.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about what's coming. I did not self-fit either of those products. They were fit for me. And I'm excited to do it. Let's jump into the recipe of the week.
All righty. Let me grab this here. So, recipe of the week, as usual, I am keeping it easy and quick. Well, yeah, it's pretty quick actually. I'm doing a lazy enchilada. So instead of having to spend a lot of time rolling the enchilada and all that stuff, you just basically, it's an enchilada casserole kind of is the way I would explain it. And you can do beef or chicken or ground turkey or whatever your heart desires. It's quick, it's easy, it's delicious, makes great leftovers. And I have the recipe ready to go on the form when we finish the show.
We're going to keep it short this week. I want to urge everybody to go enter our Open Championship contest. We're giving away 3 Edel wedges in the grind of their choosing. All they have to do is pick the winner of the tournament.
Kind of awesome.
Pick the winner. You got a chance to win. You can use my pick. There's a lot of people, obviously if there's a tie, people are going to, it'll go into a random thing and we'll pick somebody out of them. But 3 full wedges, pretty high dollar value.
Yeah.
You'll get to choose the grind you want and everything else. We're going to get out of here this week. Next week, we're back. We're going to probably be earlier in the week.
Again, yeah.
But not necessarily in the morning.
No, not necessarily in the morning, but it's going to have to be early in the week.
But we're going to be early in the week because there's a whole lot of stuff going on. But we are going to be back. Oh, before we go, there's people here waiting for our Granddaddy contest announcement.
Oh.
I'm not going to tell you what the contest actually is, but I am going to tell you that it will kick off on Monday on the THP forum for a chance to get into the Granddaddy.
Monday the 24th.
Monday the 24th.
Yes.
That is correct. On the THP forum, enter to win the ultimate of ultimate golf trips. So stay tuned for that.
Yep,
stay tuned for our time for the show. It'll probably be Tuesday again.
Yeah, I like Tuesday.
And we will be back next week.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.